Pregame.com.
Welcome another week, pregame.tv. We are talking everyone's favorite sport, golf. I am Steve Fezzik here with Brady Kannon. Brady is an expert in the golf world. He's going to have to carry this conversation. We're going to go to Tucson, right outside of Tucson, Dove Mountain, Accenture Match play action. And Brady, take it away.
Well, you'd like this. I mean, this is head-to-head matchups. You got the top 64 players in the world, and it's like the NCAA tournament. You know, right? You're going to have 32 matches in day one, starting on Wednesday. You got, you know, player number one against the number one seed against the number 64 seed and all the way in towards the middle, and they keep on going until Sunday. The only bad thing about this, you've got 47 of the top 50 players in the world here, and the three guys that aren't here this week, number one, Tiger Woods, number two, Adam Scott, and number four, Phil Mickelson. So that takes a little bit of the luster off of it, but everybody else is here, and it's just head-to-head action all week long.
Well, Adam Scott can stay in Hawaii for all I care, but I think they really should just pay Phil and Tiger triple whatever they need to do, you know, to have an appearance fee. Are some of these guys getting appearance fees?
That's illegal on the PGA Tour, but it does happen quite a bit in Europe. That's why you see all these guys play in Abu Dhabi, and you know they make the trip over there. Tiger, I think the last trip he made over seas to play in I believe it was Abu Dhabi, you know, picked up a cool $2 million just to be there.
So probably the only way they can make it up with hospitality suites and trying to take care of with the comps with the players.
And I don't know exactly what it is about Dove Mountain. Some guys say that they don't like the golf course a lot. They had really tough weather there last year where it actually even snowed one day. Now, day one on Wednesday, round one of the Accenture Match play is supposed to be 80 degrees, maybe less than 10 miles an hour of wind. It ought to be good scoring conditions for golf.
Very good. Well, you've been focusing on, you don't like to look for the needle in the haystack, finding who's going to win, and really hard to handicap who's going to be facing who down the road. So you're really looking at like an NCAA tournament, your first round matchups, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, if there's a lot of favorites that you can play out there, and you're going to have to lay some heavy wood. Rory McIlroy is a big favorite in this tournament, and I can't remember the gentleman he's playing. Oh, he's playing Boo Weekley. You've probably heard of Boo Weekley. Playing Boo Weekley in the first round.
It's one of the hillbillies, right?
Yeah, and Rory is minus 335.
Wow.
And, you know, it just might be worth laying it because he's probably going to win that one pretty handily. But I try and look for matchups where, obviously, where you think the underdog's got a good shot. We're going to take a look at three matchups today, just to look at some of the players that are here. You've got past winners, Steve Stricker, Henrik Stenson, Ian Poulter, Luke Donald, Hunter Mahan, and Matt Kuchar is your defending champion. Matt Kuchar, by the way, has a 14-4 record here at the Accenture Match play. Really difficult to handicap this event where it is just that one-on-one match play versus, you know, trying to handicap how a guy's going to do over the course of the entire 4 days of a tournament. You have to kind of look at who's playing hot right now for this particular course and a match play setup. I like a guy that's going to keep his ball in play and hit fairways. I like a guy that's going to make putts on the green and hit greens in regulation. You don't want to get into trouble, or that can derail a match in a hurry.
Very good. And I noticed a theme here. It appears you're fading those who are coming in off the continent from Europe, right?
Yeah. The matchups that I'm going to look at in particular, Harris English against Lee Westwood, Sergio Garcia against Mark Leishman, and Scott Piercy against Justin Rose. Piercy, a local Las Vegas kid. But English and Leishman and Piercy have all been playing golf in the wraparound season in October through the end of the year, and also recently in 2014. Westwood and Rose especially have not been playing a whole lot. Sergio's played a little bit over in Europe a couple times, and in fact actually has a couple of victories, but this will be his first time in the U.S. soil. And again, I think this is a tournament that is tough for these guys to come right out of the gate, because if they do have a bad day, it's over. They don't get to go to the next day and you know, if they shot 72 on the first day and bounce back with a 66, if they shoot 72 on the first day, it's over.
Mm-hmm. Very good. You know, just an aside, I know nothing about golf, but what is it about Sergio Garcia? I hate Sergio Garcia with the wiggles,
the waggles,
where he couldn't hit the shot for like 17 seconds. Is it just me? Or?
No, you're not alone. A lot of people don't like Sergio because he seems to always, you know, after a tournament, you know, slips out of his hands, that he lets one go. He always kind of has this woe is me, you know, I'm cursed. And he always kind of portrays that, you know, a little bit of a, you know, everybody's against me type of attitude, and he doesn't. And you know, people loved him. If you remember his little scissor kick at Medina when he was 17 years old, challenging Tiger in the PGA Championship, and that's really burst onto the scene. But he's had some moments, and in fact, just had a little Twitter argument a year or so ago with Tiger, and you know, he always seems to put his foot in his mouth, and I think that's, you know, where your dislike and many is coming from.
Well, I got to call into my friend Mr. Orr, and he and I are thinking about going down there and heckling the young man and seeing what we can get. No. Why don't we go through the individual matchups then, one by one, and you can talk about what you're actually putting your money on.
Harris English is a guy that not too many people are familiar with, but he tied for 10th in LA. He was 9th in Phoenix, 4th at the Sony Open in Hawaii, and actually had a win in the wraparound season. He's paired here against Lee Westwood. Lee Westwood is one of the finest players in the world, and we all know that. But English is the guy that comes in here hot. Now, the only thing against him this week is he's never played in this tournament before. He's a newbie, whereas Westwood has been around a few times. Westwood tied for 20th in LA. He was cut in Phoenix and finished 47th in San Diego. I just don't think he is in mid-season form just yet, and I like English in this matchup. He's 8th in total driving, which means he hits it far and he hits it straight. He's 9th in greens and regulation. Westwood really hasn't gotten his game, like I say, together just yet. He'll be there by the time the majors come around, but I think this is a good spot. You got to lay about $1.20 at the LVH with English, but I like him in this matchup against Westwood because, again, it's one and done. If Westwood has a bad day, then we move on.
Very good. And your second pick, you're going to actually take a big dog here.
Yeah, a big dog, and I'm probably most leery about this one. We're going to go against Sergio Garcia, who has been hot, albeit on the other side of the pond in Europe. But Mark Leishman hasn't been too shabby either. He had a second at Torrey Pines in San Diego and a 5th at the Sony. He did miss the cut in Phoenix and was 59th in LA, so he's fallen off just a bit. But the guy's been playing very well, and he's been playing a lot more than Sergio has recently, and we're getting him here at plus 165. Now, another thing to think about with Sergio Garcia, everybody thinks about his Ryder Cup, you know, enthusiasm and his ability in match play situations like that. But actually, in the Accenture Match Play, 4 times in the first round he's been booted, 3 times in the second round he's been an early exit. So I'm going to figure there's a little bit of value here on a guy that's been playing pretty well in 2014, and you're getting him at plus 165.
Very good. And one more and another big dog.
Yeah, absolutely. Justin Rose made his first appearance since September last week in LA. He hadn't played since the Tour Championship in September, and made an appearance last week at Riviera in LA. Ended up tying for 45th, was a little bit rusty. It certainly showed with his putting, and that's really what has hampered Justin Rose. He had a phenomenal year in 2013, but I'd rather go against him here in his first, you know, really second event, if you will, but different event, certainly than a stroke play event. And he's going against a local kid here, Scott Piercy, who has played a few times, tied for 77th in LA, and tied for 15th in Phoenix, had a real nice tournament in Phoenix, and we're getting him at plus 155. If you look at the stats, Piercy's a guy who bombs the ball. Justin Rose hits it long, but Scott Piercy is 3rd on tour in distance. And if you think about playing against an opponent who's out driving you by 30 or 40 yards all day long, that's got to wear on you a little bit.
Believe me, I can relate to that.
You
greatly,
can relate
yes.
to that.
Mm-hmm.
And Piercy's a very good putter. He's not great at greens and regulation, whereas Rose is, but he's a very good putter, and he hits it long. And I think, again, at plus 155 against a guy guy who's just getting his season started. I think there's a little bit of value there as well.
Very good. Before you make it official on all three of these, and we'll just recap what the plays we made, a little betting theory. This is what I do. There's no right answer. A lot of times for record keeping, when we play a dog and we say we're betting a unit on them, we'll bet 1 to win 1.55 or 1.65. But and same thing, like if we have 1 unit on the favorite, we lay in 1.5 to make 1.
Sure.
But on my own betting, if I do a 1 unit bet, obviously if I'm laying $1.10, I lay $1.10 to make $1. But it's really, if it's $110, it's a $210 swing, whether I win or lose.
Right.
I like to stay consistent with that if I like to play about the same. So if I have like a plus 150, it doesn't have to be exact, I might wager $70.
Absolutely.
Instead, because then I'm kind of like, I'd have the same level of rooting interest where I'm trying to cash a ticket that's going to pay me back $210.
And I would take that approach here because, I mean, these guys are plus 155, 165 for a reason. You're taking a little bit of a shot here. I think probably English is the strongest play here of the three, and he is the favorite, obviously, and a short favorite, which is nice. And I think it's a short favorite because you're going against the name of Lee Westwood. But the other ones, I would back off probably the full unit a little bit to average out that.
Maybe put it down to win a unit instead of to risk a unit. Very good. Let's go ahead and just make it official and recap the 3 plays here.
Sounds good. Okay, we're looking at 3 plays at the Accenture Match Play Championship. First round matchups, by the way, on Wednesday, and there will be new matchups each and every day, just like the NCAA basketball tournament. You're going to have a new opponent each day. We're going to take a look at 3 first round matchups beginning on Wednesday. First of all, Harris English at minus 120 over Lee Westwood. We're going to go with English over Westwood. Second of all, you've got Sergio Garcia and the Australian Mark Leishman. Leishman at plus 165. We're going to take him to beat Garcia in the first round. And then finally, Justin Rose going up against Las Vegas's Scott Piercy. Piercy at plus 155. We're going to figure on him topping Justin Rose in the first round of the Accenture Match Play Championship.
It's funny when I hear you go ahead and summarize all this, and I've got a friend who does, CFL and some other stuff, and sometimes when I'm just so busy, he's like, let me give you the play so you can get down, and I'm like I'm going to go through and try to find these rotation numbers. I'm like, just give me a nickel on all of them.
Yeah.
Send me a text.
Well, that's what's kind of nice about this event is you can go to the LVH where they post all these first-round matchups.
A little easier to find, yes.
Exactly. It's not like the needle in the haystack that you allude to. These are all right there. And it's not like the odds maker is creating a matchup.
It's an actual match. That's right. If you lose, your guy loses at least, and so there's some solace in that. I know how much everyone though loves basketball, especially with tournament time. We got a couple special edition videos coming up here on basketball. We are going to talk about the upcoming tournaments that are going to be going on in college basketball. Which ones I personally think have the best value. Brady will chime in on whether he agrees or disagrees. A little bit controversial. One of my not controversial. And we are going to go ahead and also discuss another little controversy. NBA ping pong balls. Are teams tanking to get more of those golden ticket ping pong balls? Stay with us. Pregame.tv.